Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, my dear respected viewers, we begin our lesson by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity for us to continue with the lessons in Adab, Sulukil, Mureed and Adab. We pray that Allah bless this lesson and make it a reason where our sins are forgiven, our prayers are answered, inshallah ta'ala. And may Allah bless us with goodness in dunya and akhirah, and protection from all forms of difficulties, trials and tribulations. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. So today, inshallah, we will enter into chapter 13. And today we started this class a bit late. So time is a bit limited due to some errands that I have to do. So Imam al-Haddad, and he mentioned in this particular chapter, he speaks about provisions, rizq, or we say sustenance. So he mentioned, you should realize, first thing, and he mentioned provisions are being apportioned, and meaning as a Muslim we believe that our sustenance has been ordained by Allah, has been decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your sustenance is something that has been proportioned in this apportioned in the sense that it doesn't increase and does not decrease. So every single human being that Allah brought him into this existence, Allah has apportioned for him sustenance. Now, so he mentioned, you should realize and know that provision is divided and allocated by predetermined decree. This is any part of our faith, and as I mentioned, that everything is willed by Allah, everything is decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some slaves are allotted a large share and a bigger capacity for it, while some are allotted a small provision and confined to neediness, all in accordance to the wisdom of Allah the wise. So it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who specifies how much a portion or part of sustenance that is given to a particular person. And likewise, to all living creatures, whether we see or we do not see, everything is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything is created by Allah, and everything has been ordained on their sustenance by Allah. The verse in the Quran, he mentioned, وَمَا مِن دَابَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. Not a single living being that scatters on this earth, except that Allah has apportioned for them their sustenance. Now, so Imam al-Haddad mentioned, so he said, should you, O dear seeker, be among those who are apportioned a small share of it, you should exercise patience. Again, and he speaks about the importance of having patience towards any forms of difficulties that a person faces, because all these are a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the moment a Muslim, a believer, mashallah, is patient with whatever calamities that befalls him, and he returns to Allah for assistance and for his favors, then he is a person who is successful in that test, and he has passed the test in a sense, because he is able to practice patience when calamity comes. Then he mentioned, be content be content and be pleased with what your Lord has allotted to you. If you are not of those who have received a vast share, then be satisfied and just take that you need as necessary, and spend the rest in ways of goodness and channel it to good cause. So in any case, a believer always has to be equipped with patience when calamity comes, and to have making shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or sense of gratitude to the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a believer is between as-sabr and shukr. As-sabr, meaning he has patience when he faces any difficulties, and he puts in his faith to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he returns to Allah and asks him for his favors to remove him from those calamities. Or if he's given provisions from Allah, he make shukr for the ni'mah, all the bounties that Allah has given him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with tawfiq and hidayah, and bless us with patience when calamity comes, and make us amongst ash-shakur, those who always make shukr Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Al-Imam Al-Haddad and he mentioned any the extra a believer and he should look into how he is able to use any that wealth in accordance to the commandments of Allah, in accordance to his investment in akhirah. Now, then he mentioned no need in diverse wealth in devotion to Allah. So he said, know that it is not necessary for a man who wishes to enter the path to Allah to live or spend all his wealth if he is rich or resign from his profession. So here Imam Al-Haddad is saying that the path into Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for everyone, and it doesn't mean that you are on the path into Allah that you must leave everything that has connection with this dunya or leave your work or profession. It doesn't mean that. But how are you able to be in what you are, in the situation that you are in, and you obey the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is the challenge for many of us today. Today we are living in the situations that we are in. Some of us are working in the public sector, some of us are working in the private sector, some of us are owners of businesses, some of us are workers, some of us drivers, some of us work in the health industry, or some of us work in the engineering industry, and so on and so forth. So we come from different backgrounds, we come from different situations. So what we have to understand the principle in life where Islam is giving us is to study our situation and ask ourselves what Allah wants from me in the situation that I am in. So if you are a doctor, then what is incumbent for you is to be good in your profession, because you are giving benefit to people by giving medical advice and treating the sick. These are noble works, a person is rewarded for it with the intention to attain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if that person is a doctor, then he should understand that this is the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In my treatment to the sick, and in going the extra mile, to advise people to a healthy living, and so on and so forth. All these are benefits for the community. So likewise, when it comes for example to people who are in the IT industry today, we find the platforms for da'wah have gone into a lot into the IT sector, where in terms of recording speeches and in terms of all these things, a person can use his expertise to do da'wah, to help in propagating the goodness that Islam has to the masses, and so on and so forth. Likewise, a scholar in Islam does da'wah. A student who is studying must have the zeal to seek knowledge and to do well in the exams, and be good Muslims, and likewise having any good profession that a person does a service to the community in the various aspects in the work or industries that a person is in. So this is basically the advice of Al-Imam Al-Haddad. He doesn't want us to have any misunderstanding that if you want to attain the pleasure of Allah, you must leave the dunya, or if you want to be on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you must live in everything. So he is saying that it doesn't mean that you need to leave all of them. It doesn't mean that if you are rich, you have to give all of your wealth fi sabilillah. It doesn't mean any like that. However, it is necessary for him, this is what he said, to be God-fearing, and to have taqwa to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in what he does, and to have moderation in pursuing his livelihood, so as not to miss the obligatory. So as long as a person he can obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obey the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his nature of work and his halal, and is able to perform his obligations towards himself and towards his family and towards Allah, that is any ni'mah. And to help any others, for example, that is any ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah bless us with tawfiq and hidayah, inshallah. Because of time, we have to we will go into our next book. So we will enter into Muqaddimah Hadramiyah.